Have you ever thought to yourself, I am in the mood to watch the most violent, chaotic, badass, intense, jaw-dropping action horror anime that includes the most powerful, aura-farming, maniacal, monster-slaying, Nazi-fighting, shape-shifting, insanely brutal adaptation of a classic vampire character that's ever been told? Well, if so, then it might be time for you to watch Hellsing Ultimate. This is one of my absolute all-time favorite anime series and a perfect one for the Halloween season. Hellsing was a 10-volume manga series by Kota Hirano that was released through the late 90s into the early 2000s, with its lead protagonist being an all-powerful vampire named Alucard. The first anime adaptation of Hellsing also released in the early 2000s, just called Hellsing, and it loosely adapted the beginning of the manga, but then deviated into its own storyline that didn't follow the mangas. But soon after that, we got Hellsing Ultimate, which is basically the Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood treatment to the Hellsing anime. It's the anime that stays true to the manga story and also creatively tells the tale within 10 episodes, each episode adapting an entire volume of the manga, and with each episode going on for as long as it has to get the job done, ranging from 40-minute episodes to episodes that are over an hour long. And this is a series that I absolutely adore, and for any fellow violent anime or vampire fiction lovers out there, I think it's a necessity to see for yourself and experience the chaotic intensity that Hellsing Ultimate has to offer. Hellsing Ultimate is a series that is mostly about the organization Hellsing, which was created to combat and eradicate any and all supernatural threats to the nation, and the title of the organization, Hellsing, is not just an homage, but specifically referencing the Bram Stoker character, Van Helsing, who started the organization and also canonically defeated Dracula. Now, in modern day, or in the 1990s, it's run by Helsing's descendant, Integra, a cold, calculating leader that often has to make the very difficult decisions that no one else is prepared to do. And though plenty of skilled people work for her, she has an ultimate weapon at her disposal, and that is Alucard. He's our main character, and again, the name reference is very deliberate. One thing I tend to be a stickler about when it comes to my vampire media is that I prefer my vampires to be evil or tragic figures. If a vampire is good, then I want a creative and interesting reason as to why, kind of like Angel being cursed with a human soul in the Buffy universe, or Michael, who's struggling with his transformation into a vampire in The Lost Boys. So when it comes to Alucard, it is mostly a matter of honor. He is loyal to the Hellsing lineage for reasons that are probably obvious, but this also in no way takes away from the fact that he is a vampire. He is an ancient and primal force of nature that thrives within battle and bloodshed. Facing down other vampires and ghouls are his idea of fun and a way to test his skills, as well as the ferocity of others. He actively places restrictions on himself in order to try to find opponents that are worth fighting, and with hopes of removing those restrictions when a worthy adversary arrives. The joy of this series to me is watching Alucard do his thing and to see how the series handles such a massively overpowered character in the lead, as well as the glee that comes over him during his many battles. Say what you will about English dubs in general, but for my personal taste, I think Crispin Freeman's performance as Alucard is arguably my favorite dub performance of all time. Moments of him taunting and tearing down his enemies have lived rent-free in my mind for many years.
Summon up your familiars. Transform your body. Heal your severed legs and stand. The evening is still so young. I want to hear you squeal like a pig.
So you're going to tell me everything you know? Well, your blood will.
And though he is overall doing good for the world, Alucard is still a vampire. He will kill humans that get in his way, and he often embraces his own sadistic nature, with only Integra as an authority over him for the time being. The creativity on display with his powers is also fantastic, from his shape-shifting to shadow manipulation to regeneration, blood absorption, just pure raw strength. It's everything that you want. They do not downplay the power of a vampire in this show. But it's also not without its own complexity and its own tragedy. Without going into his backstory, Alucard's human days were not easy. And his desire for somebody to defeat him also stems from his own decision to become a creature of the night. There's a wonderful scene where another character is about to make a similar choice as he did, and Alucard pleads for him not to not become a monster like himself. And it's moments like that that really pull this character full circle for me and make me appreciate every aspect of him. He is a monster, but there's also a deep sadness as a result of that. It takes the idea of a character that massively overshadows everything else around him in power and skill, and still manages to make him interesting and give us many things to ponder about a creature like this walking among us and what that would mean and how that influences other people around him. As a vessel for the audience, we also have the character of Seras. She's a policewoman turned vampire in the very beginning in order to save her life, and we see her process of transformation, as well as focus a good portion of the series on her struggles to move past her history of traumatic events. There's about a 2-episode run right in the middle of the series where Seras steals the show and becomes the prime focus. And this is the only portion of the show I may say a trigger warning for. Though the entire series is filled with violence and gore and intense action, Seras' backstory has a specific moment of sexual violence that she witnesses, and it's pretty disturbing. But other than that, her journey of embracing her own vampiric nature as well as overcoming her past makes her become an extremely memorable character with honestly some of the most standout moments of the entire show, which is saying a lot considering we have fucking Alucard here. We also have the rival organization to Hellsing, Section 13, with their own standout warrior, Alexander Anderson, a genetically modified regenerating human that clashes with Alucard on multiple occasions. This man is a crazy son of a bitch and loyal to his cause to an absolute fault. And what seems on the surface as another really cool badass character also turns out to be this powerful representation of the tragedy of self-destruction, devoting yourself to something so strongly that there really is no sense of self anymore. But could you guess what the antagonist of a vampire series like this could be? I mean, what else? It's Nazis. Well, more specifically, it's the Millennium organization, led by the Major, who are here to bring back war and all of its glory, making good on a 50-year-old rivalry with Alucard and Hellsing, and turning the UK into its own battleground with armies of undead warriors, starting a 3-way conflict between Millennium, Section 13, and Hellsing. Now, Hellsing certainly does bask in all of its 90s edgelord glory, and I love it for that, but I also do think there are some great moments of commentary here about the dangers of fully committing yourself to darkness or even to the light, and that there comes a point where the two are hardly distinguishable between each other, just two polar opposites of the same coin that ultimately result in exactly what Millennium wants, a forever war. Perhaps a look at the dangers of committing yourself to any ideology too strongly, or putting it above your own humanity. But that also isn't to say that Hellsing is trying to be some super deep philosophical show in any way either. It just manages to strike a balance between its horror, action, and philosophy that creates a good, simple middle ground for anybody that enjoys all of these things. And in that, I think it succeeds. The final couple episodes are crazy and where it really gets to let loose everything that you could possibly want and answer many and all questions about Alucard himself, which is impressive for a show with only 10 episodes to fill it with that much information. I do wish the show was longer and had more story arcs, but it really only has one main story to tell, and I suppose it's better to keep it short and sweet than let it wear out its welcome. You basically get the first couple episodes that set up the world, the characters, and the lore, and then the main storyline begins a few episodes in. You have the Seras episodes in the middle, where she has plenty of time to shine, and then you end with an all-out war and the peak of what Alucard can truly do, while also having plenty of twists and turns, betrayals, some comedic moments, and lots of kill scenes and bloodshed along the way. So if you're looking for something vampire related with stunningly brilliant animation and memorable characters, but also want an absurd amount of violence, then you have nothing left to lose. Get on watching Hellsing Ultimate while the evening is still so young. If you guys are a fan of Hellsing Ultimate, if you've seen it, or even the original Hellsing series, let me know what you think about it down below. Thanks for watching, guys. Go do yourself a favor and watch Alucard cause some carnage. Other than that, give the video a thumbs up and a comment to help it out in the algorithm. If you want to support the channel on a deeper level, I do have Patreon, channel memberships, and all the social media links where you can follow me down below. Other than that, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you next time.
Yes, excellent. I haven't had this much fun in ages.